I think it's so interesting. Out of everything, had the coroner not made the decision to place Mary's 3 fingers in a jar in 1881, would I be sitting here giving this interview right now? Would we even have this exhibit? Quite possibly the most popular set of objects in our entire collection. Mary was a human being, and for over 100 years we've not told people that, and now we are. She was a daughter, she was a sister to 5 siblings, she was a mother to 4 children. She was a person, regardless perhaps of her demeanor. Carl and Mary were married in Cleveland. They moved to Wood County around 1869, bought a farm in Milton Center. Carl, unfortunately, did not have some prosperous years as a farmer. He had some debts. He had to mortgage the farm a couple of times. He paid those debts off, but he wanted to sell their farm. And Ohio is a dower state, meaning both husband and wife have to sign the deed in order to sell the farm. When they still lived in Cleveland, Mary, after their 2nd year of marriage, tried to file for divorce. In the trial transcripts that he slapped her around a lot of neighbors saw it, that they argued. He ends up getting arrested and going to jail for a month prior to the murder because of domestic violence. He slapped her around. She had gone to the lawyer's office in Weston to try to finalize the paperwork for a divorce from Carl. What she was most afraid of him selling the farm out from under her and taking everything and abandoning her. And in 1881, there's not a lot of choices and options for women. So honestly, what was she gonna do? So her power was not signing, and it really upset him. In October, it was getting cold, and he asked her to move out of one room so he could be in another room with the stove. She did not want him in the house. She told him, no, you have to stay out in the barn. She had gone to bed, things escalated. He went outside, he grabbed the corn knife, and he came inside and attacked her. After that, he had gone out and thrown the corn knife in a field, which a farmer found and turned it over to the sheriff. He put his children to bed. All of his children were home. Then at 5 o'clock in the morning, he walked them to a neighbor's house, and then he got on the train and went to Bowling Green and turned himself into the sheriff. Carl thought he would be at life in prison. He thought he would end up going to the Ohio Penitentiary. So he was very surprised that they did sentence him to death. I think the other part of it is the sensationalism of Carl being hung at the second version of the Wood County Courthouse, right? We don't hang people anymore, at least not in Ohio. And they sold tickets to the event. It was at a fair. The National Guard was called. There was 10,000 people. And so one of the first things that I did is I called my friends at the Ohio History Connection, and I asked, could you recommend a conservator because we have human remains?
So here at the Ohio History Connection, in our natural history collections, we have about 30,000 specimens. You know, we have birds and mammals, and we have fossils of the Ice Age, and we have invertebrate fossils, and all the things we have preserved in alcohol. We preserve a lot of things that are difficult to preserve with conventional taxidermy, like the snakes and like fish, like amphibians, that we preserve in ethyl alcohol, just like we did with the fingers. So when the fingers were first collected as evidence in Carl Bach's murder trial, they didn't have any other preservatives, so they were put into whiskey. And you don't want to just drop them straight in. They need to gradually readjust to the preservative. So we'd first put it in a 20% solution, and we put it in a 40, a 60, and finally the preservation strength of 70%. And what we used is ethyl alcohol. So 70% ethyl alcohol is the best preservative for these kind of biological specimens. Well, one of the interesting things we found out when we were rehydrating these fingers were that, so we're able to see some secondary slashes that were on the fingers, not ones that led to the amputation, but as part of the slashing, it left cuts in the finger.
The Cocoon was approached to collaborate on the Bach exhibit, and we were very excited about the opportunity to be able to be part of telling the story of Mary and Carl Bach, and really looking at how the domestic violence that was occurring in Mary's household in the 1800s really matches and lines up with a lot of the things that the Cocoon has seen over the last 15 years. In Wood County alone, in just this past year, we served 717 survivors at the Cocoon. And those are folks right here in our Wood County community who have reached out and said, hey, I'm experiencing domestic or sexual violence, and can you help? And one of our missions has been to very strongly bring awareness to the struggles that domestic violence survivors have had over the years, and the ways that we can support them in trying to overcome the obstacles that they have in providing safety and healing, and a way to get connected to the resources and the help that they might need.